Good morning, good evening, good everything in between, and welcome to the podcast. It's our last episode of the offseason, our first episode before we kick off this week. It's time for the 2024 PLTV season, and I'm joined as always by Mr. Gabe Lerman. How you doing, Gabe?
We're gonna get Roki Sasaki on Sunday for the midnight matinee if all goes as planned, and I am grinning from ear to ear, my guy. I
Oh yeah,
can't wait to see this guy in action.
I know. Oh, I've been waiting all offseason for it. It's going to be outstanding, and we are also joined as always by Mr. Michael Beasley. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good. I'm anticipating that rookie start. I'm anticipating the midnight matinee, and I'm anticipating starting the NPB season in Japan next month.
So we are recording today on March 26th, but the season kicks off on March 29th. Hopefully, we'll get this episode out before then. But if not, you will have already seen some awesome MPB action in the Pacific League. And so let's start with today's news stories. Gabe, what do you have for us today?
This is some potentially big news coming from Nikkan Sports, validated by Sean Spradling and Jeff Passan from ESPN with regards to team partnerships between MLB and other foreign leagues. MLB has banned them. The justification was to avoid tampering with posting and free agent negotiations because of the proximity to players. That means no sharing of data like TrackMan or Driveline, no communications between teams and other teams. So that way there's no preconceived notions of favoritism. Like there is a good example of that. If you take a look at teams that have had partnerships in the past, the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters were one, the Texas Rangers on the other side of that partnership. And you remember where Kohei Arihara wound up going to when he was posted a few seasons ago. So it's going to be interesting to see how that affects teams like the Fighters, like the Bay Stars and the Diamondbacks who had a partnership. I remember the Marines had a partnership with, I think, the Red Sox at one point.
I think tampering is one of those things where they say they don't want it to happen, but it's so hard to actually stop. You know what I mean? But
I
it's
see
good that
all
they have
these
something.
guys signing deals in their like teenager years before they're legally allowed to jump to the majors because it's all handshakes in the Dominican Republic and,
Yeah.
and international FAs. Why should Japan be treated any differently?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point too. But I mean, look, whatever people need to say to make other people feel comfortable, I guess, you know what I mean? It all just kind of feels like lip service to me.
Fair.
And Mike, did you have something for us today?
Very excited. Nearly jumped out of my chair when I saw this in the group chat when Gabe told me that Pro Baseball Spirits or Pro Yaku Spirits is getting a new game on the PS5 and will actually be released on PC on Steam for the first time.
Oh, I didn't see
So
that part. Okay, that's amazing.
I have poured countless hours into the 2015 version, the 2019-2020 version, the 2009 game that has the WBC in there with complete player likenesses for pretty much every country. I've played the game to the newest ones I haven't played too much because that would involve owning a Switch, which I don't really want. But I will probably disappear when the Steam release comes out.
And
I
so,
am so excited for this. One, because the game looks absolutely incredible, and the amount of motion capture work that has gone into the game, if you take a look in the trailer, is ridiculous. They managed to mocap Takuya Kai throwing out a base runner, and it looks so realistic, so much better than what MLB's putting out. If
E-
there's an English translation mod for the Steam release, I'm with you, Mike. I am spoken for. I will upgrade this 10 and a half year old laptop I'm recording from just to play that game.
And for every time I show the game series to like new players that like, the American baseball games, they actually, even with the older versions, they're always amazed by the amount of just actual animations and motion that are in that game. Like if you'll see in the 2015 version, you'll see players take their hat off and like call a timeout themselves on the pitching mound if you're taking too long. You'll see all these animations in the outfield, players, like picking up the grass or doing whatever, like looking at their scouting card. Like
And
there's so
cheer
much stuff in that
songs.
game.
Like
Oh
they
yeah, I
they
forgot
they
about that.
recorded the cheers and the cheerleader sections out in the outfield. It is so immersive.
well, like, because the thing with this series, if I'm not mistaken, as far as I know, it's not like a yearly release like the American ones do, right?
That
Or
is
is it?
correct.
So yeah, I mean, it makes sense that you'd have if it's not yearly release and you also have smaller number of teams to focus on, that would give you a lot more. You can get really more in depth. So hey man, if it's coming to Steam, Hopefully my computer can run it. It's very old and dying. I should get a new computer, but that's an aside. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the game, and I know you are too. And before we get into our actual baseball news, let's take a quick ad break.
Every day across America, thousands of baseball fans are starving for live games because they're stuck working the night shift. They can't watch games live and are left to scavenge for highlight reels on YouTube. It doesn't have to be this way. For just 1,500 yen per month, you can sponsor a shift worker to get access to Pacific League TV. Live broadcasts, including farm team games, with start times between midnight and 5 a.m. Eastern, all blackout free. Your subscription also includes a decade's worth of full game videos on demand. Please find it in your heart to give the joy of Pacific League TV to the fans in your life. Visit pacificleague.com to sign up.
And welcome back to the show. And so now, seeing as we are about to start the season, it's time to get into our standings predictions. We gave you our reason for why we think each team can win last week on the show, but this time it's time to get really into it. Time to make your season predictions. Gabe, who do you have going bottom to top or top to bottom? I guess pick your way. How do you think the season's going to play out?
6th place, Rakuten Eagles. I'm really concerned about the pitching, about the hitting core aside from Masamura. That's, I know, a spicy choice considering where they finished last year. Everyone else has improved. Cody Ponce and Nick Turley don't move the needle for me. 5th place, Cebu Lions. They're going to be better. They're going to be competitive. That rotation is too good to not be competitive. Somebody's got to score the runs. And maybe one of the breakout picks that we're going to talk about later, I still have my concerns. 4th place, Chibolote Marines. Bringing back Gregory Polanco is a big help. Health remains a question mark because once you go beyond the top guys, the depth is not there. Maybe they squeeze into 3rd place if Sasaki pitches a full season healthy. 3rd place, I mentioned this last week. I got the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters. There are too many guys on the cusp of a breakout season. They made too many smart moves, and adding Sachia Yamasaki, I think they're poised for a breakout. If not, Tsuyoshi Shinjo is hitting the unemployment line. Remember, he made that commitment. 2nd place, the Oryx Buffaloes. Ryoma Nishikawa adds some much-needed pop. The pitching is going to continue to be top-notch. I just don't think that they're going to be able to run with the eventual pennant winners, and it will be close, the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks. That is a murderer's row of a lineup if I've ever seen one. The defense is fantastic in outfield and infield, and that'll make up for the pitching, which is kind of mid. But yeah, I'm calling Hawks will retake the pennant. They have spent too much money to not do that.
All right. I appreciate the support for the Hawks, but we will get around to my list in a moment. Mike, what about yours?
So at the top, from top to bottom, I have SoftBank at the top because, let's be real, it's their world. We're just living in it, and they've let Oryx have the top spot for the past couple of seasons. I fully expect them to just come back and take it. 2nd place, I have Oryx because they run this thing. And in 3rd place, I have it
Wait,
as a...
How are we all living in the Hawks world, but the Buffaloes run it?
You'll see.
Okay.
You'll see. Before I lost my train of thought, how rude. In 3rd place, I have it between Lotte or Nippon Ham. I think Nippon Ham's probably the likely 3rd place option. And then probably Cebu and then Rockton at the bottom.
All right, so basically, Mike and I have the exact same standings.
And I'm going to break away from the pack here. I have at the bottom, from bottom going up, I unfortunately think the Saitama Cebu Lions are going to be rock bottom this year. You are right about that pitching rotation. I don't see it in the lineup. I have no idea where those runs are going to come from. It's just, I don't think it's going to happen again, unless we have some serious breakouts from some of the rookie players. I don't know about that. 5th place. Now I do think I'm a little torn between Rakuten and Chiba, the Marines, I should say, because on the one hand, if Rakuten can kind of keep up that momentum from last year, They could carry it out, but they also did lose Yuki Matsui. Now the Chiba Marines, I don't think they got worse this offseason. I don't think they got a lot better, and they were kind of a bit of a borderline team. They barely made the playoffs last year. But I do agree with you guys on the top three, just different order. I do think the Nippon Ham Fighters are going to be third place. I think they lost way too many close games last season. I don't think they will replicate that. I think they'll be more comfortable at home this year instead of having all those expectations of last year. And then in second place, I have the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks because while you are right, they have added so much. They are loaded. It's still a lot of question marks for me. Is Levan Moinello going to adjust to his new position? Is Adam Walker going to play well? Is Yamakawa going to play well? Can Kondo repeat? Can Yanagita continue to fight off old age? There's just too many questions. Now, if everything does go right, I think they could win 100 games, but we will see. And so I think number one, I still got to go with the Oryx Buffaloes because I just think, look, the only thing they need to do is replace Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Easier said than done. But everything else is still pristine with that team, and they still look great. They played great all year last year. I don't really see why they wouldn't repeat, all things considered, again, unless Fukuoka just kind of goes off. But all right, okay, so we're just gonna go right into also now our individual award predictions. Let's start it off with Mike. Who do you have for MVP this year?
Kensuke Kondo.
Really? Okay. I thought about that, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. What about you? Gabe?
The MVP in the Pacific League usually comes from the pennant-winning team, and I know I said I called the Hawks to win, which would point me normally towards Kondo. I'm gonna go with a swerve, Tomoya Mori.
Oh my God, you read my notes. I got a feeling about Tomoya Mori this season too. I think he's just gonna have a huge year this year. I don't know why, but I kind of have Mori. Though I will say one sort of little side caveat that goes into the next award. In the situation where he's healthy all year, I think it's pretty likely Roki Sasaki wins not only MVP but Best Pitcher. I think Best Pitcher is almost a lock, even if he's not healthy all year, unless somebody else has like a really crazy year. But if he's healthy all season, Roki Sasaki is going to win the MVP. And he is also my pick for Best Pitcher. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I would like to say Roki Sasaki, but honestly, after the season he had last year, I would not be surprised if Shunpei Yamashita was up there.
Oh, interesting. Actually,
Junpei's a
that's
good call.
pretty good
Actually,
call.
I was going to go with Roki's teammate and the guy who actually finished second for strikeouts last year, starter Atsuki Taneichi.
Ooh, nice dark horse pick. I like it actually.
Yeah, it's either going to be him or Lions starter Kona Takahashi. The guy has MLB ambitions. This is his prove it year. He's seen if you win a best nine or you win MVP or you win Sawamuda, you're headed stateside. That's his milestone to pass.
Good pick, actually. That's a really interesting pick. And so now let's go over to Rookie of the Year. Who do you have, Gabe?
There's a few interesting options. And I'm just looking at the names, and a few of them stand out just because they're amazing. The Eagles have two guys who speak to me. Ginji Maeda, because Ginji the second, and my new homeboy, yeah, as well as Rikai Jumile Waters, Japanese-born, drafted through as a domestic player. I want to see that kind of a name do well. I think, Jimbo, you were mentioning Ho Naito on the Buffaloes as someone who is hitting the snot out of the ball in spring training. I'm going to go with someone that the Hawks have been working on bringing up, maybe their next big outfielder prospect in Itua Ikine.
Okay. And what do we have for you, Mike? Who do you think is going to win Rookie of the Year this year?
I've honestly not even thought about it. I've watched a lot of spring camp, but it's mainly been late at night when I'm falling asleep.
That's fair.
And I've seen a lot of triple digit numbers. I can just not tell you whose name is on the back of them.
You know what? I get that because
Even
right
less
before we
developmental,
started,
but
I was like, who's that guy on the Eagles throwing really hard? I like him. But for me, I think I'm going to go with Natsuki Takeuchi for the Lions. I think with how the Lions are looking this season, they're going to need all the help they can get. So they're probably going to be playing as many rookies as they can. So why not have a Lions rookie win Rookie of the Year?
I mean,
And that
Takeuchi was a first-round draft pick, and given the pedigree that the Lions have had with their starting pitchers like Chihiro Sumida last two seasons, Takeuchi's a solid pick.
Yeah, and I saw some stuff out of him in spring training, and he looked really good. So, I mean, I think it's entirely possible. And now sliding over to breakout player of the year. This is more of a hopeful for me than like an actual. Well, no, it is. I do genuinely think he's going to have a great season, but I really want to see Kotaro Kiyomiya finally put it together. I want to see him get that bat open. I want to see him hit a lot of home runs this year. Let's go, Kiyomiya. Have the season we know you're all capable of. What do you think, Mike?
So for breakout player of the year, honestly, I was thinking kind of in the comeback range. I was thinking
Mm,
Neftali Soto with his switch to the Pacific League, being able to DH
Mm.
more and having a new set of surroundings. Maybe he can get back up to that 40 home run area he was with the Bay Stars a number of years ago.
that'd be fun. And what about you, Gabe?
I am trying to manifest this. This has to be Ryo Ota's breakout year. I've been trying to make it happen for the last two. He did hit that first pitch home run in Game 7 of the Japan series in 2022, but he hasn't had a lot going lately. I think last year he only got into like 40 games due to injury bug. I want this to happen. Ryo Ota, be the phenom I know you can be.
And finally, with us being the English coverage of the Pacific League, I think it's also fair that we talk about our Gaijin of the Year or our Foreigner of the Year. And for me, I think I'm a little torn. It's going to be a Hawk. I think I'm really between Levi Moinello and Carter Stewart Jr. I think I'm going to lean Carter Stewart Jr. because I just think he's got it this season. He's going to have that breakout year, become the ace he should be. So that's who I really hope is going to win Gaijin of the Year.
Guy's getting paid like an ace, let's not forget.
And what do you think, Gabe?
Ariel Martinez, 40 home run campaign.
Ooh, oh,
Calling it
that's a
here.
good shout. That's a good shout,
I'll
actually.
say that was my pick too. I had the same exact thought.
Yeah, no, Ariel Martinez rocks. Actually, that's a really good
You
shout.
took him out of
Actually.
Nagoya, you gave him a proper ballpark, and you let him move off the catcher position, and no surprise he responds. I think he's due for a breakout. I'm calling him for 40 home runs. I don't care if he only hits half that many.
40's a lot, man. But we'll see. Hopefully, that'd be great. And so that brings us around to the final part of our show today, our familiar places and new places. Gabe, what do we have going on stateside with our Japanese players lately?
Don't ask. Not
That's
about
fair. Let's move
Ohtani,
on.
not about Yamamoto, not about Uwasawa. Don't.
Yep, we're not talking about it. Okay, on to the next thing. Our question of the day. This is what we want you to talk about. Nothing else. Will you be joining us for the Midnight Matinee this year? We will be kicking off this season on Sunday, March 31st at 1 a.m. Eastern Time. I suppose that makes it Saturday, March 30th at about 10 p.m. Pacific Time.
Yep.
And then you can play out whichever region you're in from there. But yeah, will you be joining us for the Midnight Matinee? Gabe, how about you?
Jimbo, we're all going to be there. We're all
Oh,
broadcasting
that's
it.
true. Even I will be there. I will be making a special appearance on the Midnight Matinee. I got the time off from work. I will have a lot of coffee, and I will be rearing to go to watch Roki Sasaki slice his way through the Nippon Ham Fighters, and I think it's going to be a super game. It's going to be a super season. We are going to have a fantastic 2024 season, and I hope you can join us not only through all the games, but also through all the podcasts. And join us all on Pacific League TV. Check out the channel, check out the service, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.